Hello, everybody. It's Holger Müller here in Constellation Research with who else than my co-host?
Liz Miller, Constellation Research, or I should go this way, I guess. Yeah, what's up, Holger? How you doing?
The way the cameras go. How are you today, Liz?
I'm doing well. I'm a little sad. The founder of Shin Ramen Company and huge entrepreneur out of South Korea passed away over the weekend. The creator of really the best spicy ramen out there. So I figured.
Sorry for your loss. I hope
I'd wear my instant lunch. Yeah, I'd wear my instant lunch T-shirt, my ramen T-shirt. You know, little inspiration for everybody. So your background kind of looks like noodles.
HR, I have to ask, did he take care of a succession plan? Is there somebody in place that we've taken care of?
Right.
Or are they going to
I don't know, because every article I tried to read was behind a paywall. So let's talk about that later. Anyway, it's a whole nother episode.
Terrible. Why does Google promote news to me which is behind a paywall, which I cannot read? How much clickbait is that?
Funsies.
Oh, later. Yeah, that's what you said. All right. Anything new for you? There's
a lot new. I mean, I think that we had a couple big acquisitions last week, right? And we also had some nice news actually. SAP had a stellar quarter. I mean, you talked about that, and that was kind of a nice little piece of good news to kind of kick off.
Yeah, no, certainly good to see when in Europe you have to warn in general if you have extraordinarily bad or extraordinarily good news. So that kind of like warn that they have good news, which is always good for the whole industry, right? And it's good to see that they think the rise of SAP problem, which is the throw everything from the kitchen sink together and make it easier for customers to consume, seems to make a difference. We have not really seen that in our checks, but if they claim that, Q2 will have to be the proof of that. But hey, certainly off to a good start. No question about that.
Is it the active consolidation that's bringing everything together? Or I know that they made a really big splash, 1 quarter ago, kind of trying to make that pivot to be a bit more developer friendly, wanting to be, maybe wanting to shed a little of that big hulking monolithic SAP. They want to work with more developers. They want to bring things together. I mean, I'm certainly seeing that on the CX side. They're really trying to make some intentional moves, even with their CDP. It feels like they're trying to do things differently. Is that what we're seeing, or is it something else?
Different leadership, certainly, right? With Christian Klein at the helm, different leadership team, different style, listening more actively to customers, and acknowledging, especially what in my view works very well too, acknowledging the importance of the platform. And when you talk platform, then you talk about developers as well, right? At the same time, also saying, hey, SAP has not built everything by themselves. They did this massive spin-off of their financial service part, right? The old SAP would say everything has to come out of Waldorf, or everything has to be built by SAP. Now, then service customers will work with a holding company with an investment from the outside to build that. And even employees are moving over. That is a new strategy. They haven't done this before. So certainly a different SAP, no question.
You think IBM's learning from that? Because hey, IBM.
IBM, Yeah, good quarter just today, fresh from the press. They're growing, and with the ambition to have a growing year, that would be a nice change. I mean, we want all technology providers to do well, especially the ones which are interesting, which come from the old business model and have to move to the new one. That's a challenge for any business, not just in technology. So we want all of them to do well because competition is good for our customers, right? So we certainly want to see that.
Yeah. And I think everybody seems to be announcing that they're going to have a new audio stream on their social network. I mean, people are seizing on the fact that everyone wants to be Clubhouse, but now everybody's announced. I'm fairly certain that Pinterest might be the only holdout. Pinterest is going to be the social platform that's we don't need audio.
But Instagram too, right? Everybody who's picture-centric should be not audio-centric, I hope. Right?
Because I really
don't have a stream. I don't know.
I can't think of anything worse than a Pinterest audio stream. I really can't.
For me to listen to audio, that's just an invitation to multitask. So I can listen and do some other stuff, right? Whereas when it's video, it might be engaging, right? I mean, they're trying hard. See this, look at this, look at this.
Right. Well, it's either
trying hard. Ask me what I have behind me here.
We're gonna figure it out. We'll take in votes. Anyone who's watching this episode, tell us what you think is behind Holger's head. It'd be great.
Exactly. We should do a quiz on that. Yeah, make it interactive. Great idea. Video and interactive. Man, the people who are lost and are watching what's behind Holger's head.
What's behind Holger's head? And you can get a Starbucks gift card to get a nice tea.
I'm totally up.
Just like Holger. That'd be fun.
an episode about this. This is, of course,
I
recycling.
know.
But be careful of the environment, so we want to reuse things.
NVIDIA had a big, had opened up some wallets, yeah?
Yeah, they had GTC, their yearly conference, and I was a little skeptical when NVIDIA acquired Mellanox a few quarters back. Why would they go into the data center part? But it's all now coming together with them releasing their first data center chip, which brings the data together with the networking to, of course, what's the strength part, the NVIDIA GPUs to calculate things. And they announced a very interesting thing. Remember this thing called Second Life, right? So which was supposed to take over and be bigger than the real world economy by now.
Yeah.
Analyst reports and so on. Well, they're doing Omniverse, which I think is addressing the big challenge that we have today, that the world is full of 2D content, right? One of my nightmares is, I mean, even if I would watch TV and movies the whole day, I cannot catch up. They produce no content. Not sure what's happening with the pandemic right now, but you can't watch all the movies in the world, right? So there's gazillions of whatever two-dimensional content, right? And they're making it 3D, right? They had a great story. I forgot already. What's this car Kit, the car movie from the 90s or something?
Did you just ask who Knight Rider was? Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in this country. I can quiz you about Italian and German shows from the 80s, 90s, and
Knight Rider, dude.
Yeah, Knight Rider. Okay, thank you, Liz. Thanks for being my support here when it comes to local pop culture.
Someone's got to help.
You grew up with, I only saw the translated version. I'm not even sure if they call it Knight Rider in German. This is exactly bad thing for German kids, right? Because everything gets translated, right? So you don't even have the access to it. Now the Dutch kids and all the Norwegian kids, they're all smart because they know the original name because they only got subtitles. But anyway.
But it's also, what I really liked about NVIDIA is, with what they're doing is it's kind of it's the understanding of the hardware side of how to get assets and how to make things viewable, right? I mean, I think there's so much out there. It's really hard to actually be able to get that accessible in the way the creator actually envisions it, right? And we don't necessarily think about all of those things. So it's some nice moves to get that happening. But
the creation of 3D content is so hard, right? This is why for the games they would put all the sensors on the people. They would retro.
Massively hard.
Now if I can have a 2D Bruce Lee movie and can make a 3D thing at a good enough fidelity in 2, 3 years, 5 years, maybe high fidelity. I mean, we don't have a content issue around the Omniverse. And then, of course, the real world part, right? You have cameras on cities, on real world things, on houses as you move things. That's a really, really cool innovation.
But I'll say it actually tees up some stuff that's happening next week, being Adobe Summit, because we're going to see some big announcements around everything from assets to creation to all of that stuff and how marketers are handling it in between. So we'll have some interesting conversations then, Holger, but right now...
The famous tech stars, not just the noodle stars, so rest in peace, right? The founder of the PDF format, one of the founders of Adobe just is no longer with us too, right? So PDF is something we really touch every day.
It's kind of been a bummer, but good stuff on the horizon. So we're going to see a couple of videos. We're going to hear a couple of new things. As always, when you tune in to Constellation Research TV, you're going to hear from experts. We're going to recap the news, but we're also going to talk to some new folks, and we're going to mess up like this because it's live. We'll see you in a bit.
Great to be here to talk to you about some upcoming research, a market overview about HCM suites. It's something we do on a regular basis. It's a key asset that we have here at Constellation to help our customers to figure out who are the leading products in the space. I'm going to talk about the HCM suites, which I'm going to working on the second half of 2021. So what is this all about? First of all, the important thing is we have had a question about what is the future of work. Well, the future of work is all about what we work, when we work, how we work, what motivates us to work. So all the key things which bounce around are questions around how does work be getting done. And I would be remiss about saying that there is not already an existing market overview out there, which is was published in 2019, contains all the vendors, which I'll talk about in a second, -1 because they merged. The savvy ones of you can guess who that was, but that is already there if you're an end user and listening right now. Interesting with the animation effect. Let's see how that keeps working in the real recording. So what are the inclusion criteria to be part of this market overview? The vendors must have over 1,000 customers. They must support North America and Europe, Middle East, Africa, plus 1 additional geography, depending on which part of the world is. You can include 5 or you can include 7. Don't count Antarctica. I don't think anybody has Antarctica really supported. And they have to support all the 5 HCM tectonic plates, which are HR core, payroll, talent, and workforce management, and for North America, obviously, benefits. And then support some of the key qualities and use cases. What are those, right? What are those key qualities? Well, first of all, they have to enable enterprise acceleration. Next, they have to support some reflection and do some things because this pandemic is going on, something which supports better on the COVID side. Next, they have to do something which augments people processes with artificial intelligence, or as I prefer to call it, with machine learning. They have to enable some global visibilities. These are all global HCM suites that they run in multiple areas and sections. And last but not least, they have to allow enterprises to extend and build separate parts. If you want to know more about this, look at my segment here, which talks about enterprise application platforms, or EAPs. So what to keep in mind for that, right? The HCM trends for 2021, of course, it has to be a focus on the people leader. For companies to move faster, you have to enable the people leader. There has to be a new form of togetherness, right? Diversity, inclusion, the need for people to be needed and used. Resilience is a big topic this year, so there has to be some things. And HCM has to be frictionless. It has to be easy, seamless. I don't want to spend too much time on HCM capabilities. Recruiting has to be lean. Companies have to move faster than ever before. The talent depth chart, where are the best people in the company who can be used for something, has to be enabled. Transporting is a very important thing, no question about this. And last but not least, but the omnipresent workforce management has to be there now for white-collar people, how to go to the office. Employee augmentation and relations are important to make people more productive on their work. Sorry for the formatting issue there. And last but not least, it has to be some experimentation about being a non-monolithic application going forward. So what does it mean from a specifically regarding what is happening in the post-pandemic world, right? Establish due leadership to be available and have 2 people leading companies. The co-CEO question is a pending one. I have to do some research on that. Think about how you tactically can do succession planning, work that really well. I think healthcare is going to come back on site, and it might only be the establishment of measuring temperatures, right? Enable the remote workplace, a big topic in the past. Secure that workplace, obviously. And of course, globalization matters. We know the pandemic is happening in waves in different parts of the world. If you're in multiple places, you can achieve better operational uptime. So what does it mean? Practicality. HR core is relevant again. We need to know where people are, what people do. Payroll has to be more flexible than ever before. Benefits have to be more flexible before. The traditional benefits may not be the one you might be using in a work-at-home place. Workforce management has to become more agile. Learning has to be self-paced, self-curated, self-used. Talent mobility is important from internally and globally, the inside of where the talent is. Readiness for the gig economy, because companies do not scale in natural numbers necessarily as they can hire people. And last but not least, the acceleration of talent management. So where does it put us? If you think about the overall part, which vendors are included? ADP, of course, Ceridian, Info, Oracle, the SAP SuccessFactors provision, and then, of course, the merged Ultimate Group and Kronos Group to UKG and Workday. If you're a vendor and think you should be included, let me know. If you're a customer and think you should have your vendor included in this, let me know as well. And with that, I'm turning it over for any questions, and thanks for visiting, and look forward to do this research.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We're with Joe Megabell, the CEO of Purple Technologies. This is one of the most interesting companies, but let's start with something interesting here. Let's talk about what's happening with commerce, post-pandemic commerce, what's happening in the digital environment. You're one of the world's experts, so thanks for coming on to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Great to be here. Certainly, there's been a little bit of change in the world over the last 6 to 8 months, which has impacted our company and our category as well. Purple is known first and foremost for its mattresses that it sells, in addition to.
And that's what we're seeing behind you, right?
So that's it. This is the material that's actually the surface of the mattress. It's this large injection molded, rubbery. It's a gel polymer grid, and this is of our own design, our own patents around these materials, and our own custom equipment that we had to manufacture to make it. And it's just this remarkably, my little mini bed, remarkably stretchy material. But yeah, we're first and foremost, we're a manufacturer, which makes us quite different than a lot of the internet startups out there that really are more marketing shops with contract manufacturing. And we are first and foremost a product and a manufacturing company. We're close to 1,500 employees now, and the vast majority of our operation is in our now 1.2 million square feet of manufacturing and fulfillment capability. And how we lean into that is different too. Even just as you think about employee health. We've got to keep our production facilities operating, keep our employees safe and healthy, and there's a lot of just logistical things we've had to focus on. Starting certainly, the big shift for us was, interestingly, even though we were a digitally native company that launched via Kickstarter on the internet, a lot of our growth has been how we've shown up in the real world with a fundamentally different premium product. We had invested a lot into wholesale partners and even our own showrooms, where as of today, we're in 1,850 showrooms with beds on display where consumers all over the country can experience them. With the pandemic, that basically shut down. And the kind of stores we sell in, which are furniture stores and mattress specialty stores, like a Macy's or a Mattress Firm, these are stores that weren't essential stores. And in March and early April, completely shut down. And it was a significant part of our net revenue came from our wholesale channel partnerships. And even taking the net revenue away, it was a big part of the buying experience where people would go in to experience these things. So, it was pretty interesting to see the shift that went on as most customers were either unwilling or unable to go to brick and mortar. And the question is, did they come online? And when you're talking about a $2,000 or $3,000 premium purchase, considered purchase, infrequent purchase, that isn't a sure bet that they're just going to move online. And what we saw was a combination of factors that was just fascinating, and one that we were fortunately able to lean into and arbitrage. And it was, an increase focused on home, as people were spending significantly more time in their homes, and their home became their castle. An increase focused on health, as just health in general, as you're dealing with a pandemic. And certainly as you are less active and less out and spending more time in a more stationary environment in your home, whether it's fitness equipment or sleep health, there was an increased demand and focus for health. And the third, which was interestingly, is an increase in discretionary spend. We saw, especially on the upper half, and we play on the premium side, that as people weren't taking their vacations, weren't traveling, weren't dining out, weren't doing entertainment and sporting events, and all the places that typically a lot of discretionary spend went, that there was actually increased buying power on assets in the home. And, you put those three together, and it meant there was a huge opportunity as a new and larger addressable market that hadn't traditionally been online was coming online. And there was a willingness to engage in premium, higher price point products that hadn't been there before. Our category historically was 85% brick and mortar on the premium side of our category. And we saw a significant shift online. In very simple terms, basically from a unit volume basis, including our product mix of more premium products that traditionally favor wholesale brick and mortar type channels, we didn't really see any impact. It was, purely on a unit basis, it was as if COVID-19 hadn't happened. The demand was there, the buying power was there. There was just a seismic channel shift in that so much of it moved from offline to online. And while that was obviously through externalities, what's been interesting is as the world gets a little more back to normal and retail stores are opening back up, we are seeing a shift in share and brand health and demand where we don't see it ever going back to exactly where it was beforehand.
Joe, that is an amazing story. You're talking about the focus on home, the focus on health, and digital channels all converged at once, and you're now a pandemic winner. That is amazing.
It's been remarkable. And our Q2, we in April, our DTC grew 170%. Overall for the quarter, we saw
these are numbers we've all dreamed about as digital marketers and digital commerce folks. This is amazing. So everyone, I know there's not enough time to carry out the rest of this conversation. We'll see you in the speakers area. Joe, thank you so much for being with us at Constellation Connected Enterprise.
Thanks, Ray. Always a pleasure.
Welcome back. Awesome conversation that we had at CCE, and really cool stuff. I'm liking that purple technology. I might have to go out and buy a new pillow now all of a sudden. But We're introducing a new segment that we think is going to be an awful lot of fun. And we should note, this is going to be a segment that you guys can actually tune in and play along with, because we're going to introduce salon questions from Constellation Research. It's a way to get to know not only each other, but it's a way to get to know executives. Think old salons of Europe, right, Holger?
Yeah, because basically Liz and me are bored, right? So there's nothing happening really in lockdown, and there's not much news happening. So what did people last time do in a civilized way when they were bored? And these were the salons in Paris, somewhere in the 19th century, right? And they would come up with their questions. Each salon had their own question. Liz and me had the idea. We come up with our own questions, right? In 5 categories, right? We're going to have 10 questions in each of them. So 50 is the gold standard for salon questions. We have categories: personal, career, work, wisdom, and hobbies.
So if you know of someone who should be subjected to our salon questions, definitely let us know. You can get us on Twitter. You can also get us through our website at constellationsr.com. But Holger, you want to go first?
Let's say how it works, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going to give you a glimpse into the format, right? Normally we would have an executive, somebody known in the software industry, being grilled, right? So they get to ask us 5 questions. We get to ask them 5 questions. With Liz and me being 2 people, we kind of like have to flip a coin, right? And 1 question from each segment, right? So the guests will get the whole list. The list will never be published, shall never be published, will never be known. It's only known by Liz, me, and the guest under an NDA, and it might morph, right? And then it's 30 segments for the question and the answer, so we can fit this all into a snazzy 5-minute format.
Okay. Are you ready, Holger?
You act like you heard this the first time.
I kind of did hear this for the first time, but that's fine. I mean, hey, it's us.
All right.
Mueller and Miller.
Lady first. Do you want to get asked, or do you want to ask?
Okay, ask me the first question. Bring it. Let's do this.
I'm starting the timer now because I have to keep us on time, right? Ready, set. I'm picking from personal. If you could learn a new language instantly, what would it be?
Gaelic.
Gaelic? Why Gaelic?
I used to know Gaelic when I was a wee child. I spoke a bit of Gaelic, and I have completely just forgotten it all. And yeah, I'd either learn. It's a toss up, Gaelic and Korean, because for being half Korean, I do not speak Korean. I only speak Korean menu.
I hope at least Joan makes your top 10 list. All right, over to you. Your turn.
I don't know. Okay, let me ask.
The usual language to work.
Ooh, okay. What work skill do you wish you had?
I wish that I would instantly have a calendar appointment back here, which would connect me automatically to Twitter profiles and the LinkedIn profiles, and sends out, Holger is having a meeting with Liz, and we're talking about this and this, and I could totally focus on the meeting instead of having to create digital exhaust.
But wouldn't that create more digital exhaust of like every time you're tweeting something? Like
maybe. All right, next question.
Okay.
What was your first job that started your career, Liz?
Okay. Salesperson at the Gap. There's a reason. I swear to you that the sales training that I went through in management training at the Gap way back when was the way that I learned how to not only ask questions, but read cues and signals from customers. And some of the things that I learned.
Rebate. Come on.
I'm telling you, some of the things I learned, that and I can fold really well. Okay. Holger, worst advice you ever received?
Worst advice you ever received: you don't need to play golf. And I still did a little bit of golfing, but I'm not a good golf player. And for the first time, I missed my first golfing business opportunity about 3 years back in San Diego. So not that bad. It's a skills game. It's not a sport.
Okay, I like it.
All right. Why, when, and where are you the most productive?
Oh God, that's tough. Okay, bad admission here. I'm probably most productive when I'm on the road and it's nighttime in a hotel and I'm by myself and I don't have like kids, anyone else, and I can just it's like me, my laptop, room service.
Yeah. I can kind of like recognize and acknowledge that too. Yeah, it's definitely a productive scenario. Right. Your question.
Ooh, what's your favorite childhood treat or snack?
Oh, that's a toss-up. But no, I have to be very clear. It's Haribo, of course. The original German Gummibärchen, which are separated by wax, which the FDA doesn't allow here. This is why you use a traumatic almond oil extract, making sure they don't glue together into one giant gummy bear, but hands down gummy bears. No question.
Yeah, I gotta I'm with you on that one. Gummy bears or wine gums. Those are dang good.
What is your biggest aha moment in your life?
Oh, that's such a good one. That my biggest aha moment has to be for work. Are we saying just for work? My biggest aha moment,
or whatever. Don't
life?
break time here. 15 seconds in. Come on, quick.
Oh God. That I'm the only one that can make my own bad decisions.
The bad one. Very wise, by the way. That was the wisdom category. All right, your turn.
Okay, let's see. Okay, if you had to take another job, what job would it be?
If I would be good at anything like this, I would be a sports journalist. I mean, like, these guys have the coolest jobs, right? They can travel there. I can ask the most stupid question, like somebody loses and says, "How do you feel?" Have you noticed how everybody's asking, "How do you feel?" What a stupid question is this?
Yeah.
You just lost something with the Wimbledon finals. How do you feel? What do you expect someone to say except to smack you on the face? I think I can do a great job at that. All right, last sector, fifth question. Hobbies. What hobby on your bucket list is on your bucket list to learn that you haven't done yet and you want to learn?
That's a tough one because I don't really have any hobbies that I want to. Knitting. Everyone says knitting is really relaxing, and I think it's a load of crap, but I'd try it.
Certainly. As a hobby, definitely. All right.
Okay, this is one that's not on the list, but basically when I told people that I was going to get to ask you questions about stuff, everyone said I had to find a way to get this into the conversation. Is there something that you, Holger Mueller, know how to do that would surprise everybody that you know how to do it well? Say dancing.
Surprise everybody. I'm a pretty good cook in terms of making cakes. So,
dude, you're supposed to talk about ballroom dancing.
Oh, fine. Next time you ask me that question.
Okay, so you're making cakes.
We're out of time. 5 minutes, the fastest. 5 minutes, 10 questions, 30 seconds each. Thanks for being the test candidate here. It's hard, right?
It's tough. It's tough, but seriously, folks, if you know someone who should be in the hot seat, let us know. We've got a list of folks that we want to have on here. We think it's a great way to get to know people who are actually in technology and in business today. So we hope you join us. But more than that, it's time to sign off from episode 10 of Constellation Research TV. It's been a blast being here with you guys. Up next, I believe, is another show from the incomparable Doug and Nicole duo. Believe me, they've got a far more lineup than Holger and I do, and I think they're pretty much testing how to say Holger Mueller correctly. So
we're setting the bar low. So yeah.
We do. We try to set the bar there. But listen, it's been great having you guys here. We'll see you next time.
Fun as always. Bye-bye.
Holger, I'm just going to tell you that your background makes you look like you have giant ears.
Exactly. I have my Mickey Mouse here.
It's like
but if I can move down, right, it gets even worse.
We should just do that the whole time. Like, I feel like it needs to be turned on the side, then you and I can have the same hair.
I have to edit it and then redo it, kind of like.
Totally.
I think I have to redo my hair here.
You gotta do your man bun? It's fine.
Yeah,
I'll give you a minute.
Because you don't tell me how to get the high bun done. I probably don't have enough.
You don't have enough. It's the whole trick is you got to have the back hair, Holger. You got to have enough back hair that it can kind of come.
Well, I have more back hair than I like.
Well, not that kind of back hair, dude. That's when you get wax strips.
No, but not that high. You're talking about regular back. I'm talking about head back hair.
Okay.
That bun there.
Right. I'm gonna send you one of these like foam rings that the girls use. That they like you put it and it gets in a ponytail and it wraps around. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
That is a foam ring in there?
It's a foam ring. I don't use it. I just have way too much hair. But yeah, it's like a foam donut.
I thought they were cheating all the time, but
oh no, we're cheating. Yeah, it's that Kardashian.
Foam rings in the hair. Kardashians even. Yeah, of course the Kardashians.
Well, yeah.
Why would I
talk
be
about
surprised?
cheating, you know. Okay, I'll start it. Oh, here we go.
I have to make my head bigger again. Why does the camera?
Get serious. Too big.
That's too much. I know. I'm working on it.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Because we don't know what's going to be in the B block.
Exactly. That's why we always dance on the table here.
Now, officially, on the question of what's your least favorite word universally, and anyone who doesn't pick this, I don't understand them. Least favorite word, moist.
Yep.
It's the worst word
so
in the English
gross.
language. It's a terrible word. It sounds gross. It sounds
It's just a weird word.
moist.
Yeah.
Oi. Oi, what's wrong with oi?
Not oi, moist. M-O-I-S.
Boy.
Nothing's wrong with M. What's wrong with oi?
Pirate over here. Oi, like I'm not.
What's oi? Maybe Korean pilots say oi, but the Hollywood
Oh, zoom in.
that was worse than moist. What is this? Moist
Trauma.
screen. Personal productivity matters.
Personal productivity plus 60 tabs.
Yeah.
Not in the same like conversation, dude.
That's like to see what I had opened 20 days ago.
It is.
No, it's
There's
not
no
that
other way to
cold in
heat-
San
there's no other way
Jose,
to
but
heat
I'm
your
wearing
house.
an instant noodle t-shirt, and I figured I probably shouldn't wear my instant noodle
No,
t-shirt.
no. You should wear that. The shim founder died.
I had
Shim
honestly
Shu
no
Ho.
idea who you guys talk about, but it's fine.
Shim, you know, like you go skiing, you go to Costco, these big black shim like noodles, like they come in, they're like this big. You get the
I don't
noodles
have
with
a
the
Costco member.
It's Korean spicy noodles. It's Korean spicy ramen.
Okay. Ramen
It's high quality.
rings a
It's
bell.
brand.
Ramen rings a bell.